the total that I'm paying bi-weekly is still the same budget that I had 6 months ago. Blown. Even when I got there, like everybody was looking at me like, who is this girl? Which kind of grace this girl carry? I don't want village people. Hey, close mouth is a close destiny. So I don't know about you, guys. That's how God did it though. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hamida and I'm a Nigerian YouTuber based in Toronto, Canada. I film about lifestyle in Canada, story times, and loads of vlogs. Yes, I know it's been ages since I last did a story time, but hey, this is the first of many because like I promised, this girl has gist for days. So before we get right into today's video, as you can see from the thumbnail, you already know what it is. Please, if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing below to join this beautiful family. If you're an existing subscriber, thank you so much for always stopping by. Anytime, thank you so much. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about how I bought my car in Canada and how I got up to 30% discount. Yeah, you heard of me, 30% discount. And I just thought to share this story just so that, you know, some people would learn something from it. Because honestly, there are a lot of ways to sort of cut costs in Canada. You just need to know your way. So follow no road, like I always say. So without further ado, let's get right into today's story time. As you can see here, I have my juice or wine. I don't know what I should call Schweppes. But if you are wondering how I got Schweppes Chapman to Canada, stay tuned. I have a video coming through on how you can bring all your, things that you like in Nigeria, all your drinks. Yes, we know that air cargo will not take drinks and all of that stuff, but this girl has a ways. So as you can see, today I'm with my drink and I also have my popcorn. So feel free to get yours while we delve right into today's story time. Okay, so after I got my license, if you've been following my channel for a while, you see how I took you guys through the journey. But if you haven't seen it, no worries, I'll link it somewhere here for you to watch. So I got my license and immediately I'm like, okay, yes, I passed and all of that stuff, let's go get a car. And then I began searching online. I did all my research, checked the brands, and at that time what was priority for me was my budget. So I had a budget and I needed to make sure that no matter the car I'm getting, I'm not exceeding that budget. And also I wanted to get a brand new car because, for obvious reasons, I don't want to think about like spending money on any hardcore maintenance for a long time. So for me, it was an investment that I was willing to, embark on. And I also compared the prices of like relatively new cars. I would say like 3 years old cars, 4 years old cars compared to brand new cars. And the difference was literally less than $100 in a month. So for me, it didn't make sense for me to go down that route. So I'm like, how about we just get something brand new and I enjoy all the latest features and also save some cash while at it. Okay, so I began to check, like I said, that I also wanted a family SUV, right? Because also I knew that whatever car I was getting now was going to be my family car, right? And I was also particular about not getting the regular Sienna. No offense to Sienna drivers here. I just want a car that would scream, hey, I'm a mom, I'm here, you get what I mean? But like chic and also good for the family, right? So I, established my whys. I knew the type of car that I wanted, like what type of wheel train this is. Do I want a front wheel drive? Do I want an all-wheel drive? All of that shenanigans. I did my research and I began going to dealerships and different brands to view and obviously check if they align with my budget. So the very first place that I went to, like you guys saw, is Hyundai. I went to Hyundai first and I looked at the budget and everything. Like I said, I wanted an SUV. The Hyundai Tucson at that time, the base model, was, for me, it was ugly, and it was also not within my budget. And so the guy was like, what is priority for me? I said, look, I want a beautiful car, and I also want a trunk space, and we looked at my budget. He said, okay, I'm better on taking like Hyundai Elantra. That's the salon car, right? But then, I really like the car, the top of the line model, like the highest trim was within my budget and all of that stuff. But like, it wasn't an SUV, and it wasn't going to have an all-wheel drive because it was a salon car. So I just put that as a maybe. I continued checking. I went to Mazda. Their prices were not favorable. I went to Kia. I went to Honda. And then finally, the next day I went to Nissan. I got to Nissan. The girl was very good. She had great customer service. Honestly, that was the reason I signed up that day. I had not looked at Nissan as such. I just knew, I did some research, but like, it wasn't top of mind. But because of the girl's customer service, I'm like, okay, you know what, let's do this. So I paid for the 23 cash guy. Not paid, sorry. I signed the contract, to be on the wait list. They told me it was going to take 6 months. Actually, all the while I was searching, they all said it was going to take 6 months for the car to come. And I was searching in September. So I'm like, honestly, for me, budget-wise, I was going to be able to take on a car expense in and around March. So it was fantastic for me. The 6 months was okay, right within my budget. So I signed up for a Nissan, and I was waiting, and then a month after, I called the lady like, okay, how are we doing? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, we've still not placed your order. I'm like, anyway, you've not placed my order, why? And she's like, because they're trying to discontinue it in the US. If you're in Canada, you know how most of the things in Canada are sort of like merged with the US because North America. And so because of that, they have to build a brand new portal for Nissan in Canada. So she said a lot of back and forth. I'm like, okay, so if at this time you have not placed an order yet, and you are telling me I'll do it 6 months, I'm not sure I have faith in you. So I left her, and like you see in the vlog, I then went to Kia. And then at that time that I went back to Kia, I was looking at the prices and also like the types of SUVs. So I love the Sportage. And then I said, you know what, let me compare the prices of, because I'd gone to Kia before, by the way. And after test driving, the guy gave me the price. I'm like, whoa, it's not within my budget. And he didn't even bother to say, how about you take a lower trim or anything. He was just smiling, and I was like, oh no, that's what it is. So I left him, and that explains why I signed up for Nissan in the first place. So at that point where I was in a fix, I said, you know what, let me go through Kia's brochure and see what the next in line is. And so I then looked at Kia, and I saw that the lower trim was within my budget in a way. Bear in mind that the interest rate had gone up, obviously in 1 month it had gone up by another 0.5 at that time. So I got there, and the guy was like, oh, okay, you have to wait 4 months for a gas car and 6 months for a hybrid car. And I'm like, wait a minute, actually, what is the difference between a gas car and a hybrid car, like in terms of cost? And then I looked at it, I saw that the difference in cost was going to be like $100 a month. So I'm like, okay. I then did the calculation of, like, for example, the distance to my office, and just using the base of 20 days if I needed to drive to the office for 20 days. Calculated the kilometer, and it occurred to me that I was going to save that money on fuel, based on the capacity of the fuel, and based on the fuel consumption of the hybrid. I was going to save that money, that extra $100, on gas. So I'm like, it cancels out, because if I'm doing intercity, I would rarely use my gas, right? So the extra $100 in terms of payment for the car would be made in saving money for the fuel. And best believe I just got hooked on hybrid based on that simple mathematics. And I did some research as well, and I went back, and then I signed the paper to be on the wait list for hybrid Kia at that time for another 6 months, he said. So I've been waiting, and bear in mind that I'd already lost 1 month in Nissan at that time. So I remember it was I went there like ending of October, I think. Yeah. So I was waiting, and after 3 months, I used to call the guy like, how far? I'd be like, yeah, It's coming, don't worry, we're getting little allocations, you're still on track. And one day I asked him, like, randomly, like, what position am I on the queue? And then he said I was like number 15. And this was, I think, on the 4th month. I'm like, okay. So we were approaching the 5th month, and I called my guy, like, how we doing? Sometime in February, I think. Or no, actually sometime in March. I called him, like, how we doing? What's going on? And he goes, I'm not sure we're going to be able to meet up with your timeline, because right now we are getting little allocations and we're getting like once a month, and based on your position on the queue. I'm like, wait a minute, so you're telling me after 4 months of assuring me that everything is okay, interest rate has gone up by an extra 1% at this point, and you're telling me you are not sure? Oh my god. So at that time I was like, okay, this is getting interesting. Best believe that on the 5th month in March, I began to shop for a car all over again. At that time, I was so frustrated. Like, I was so happy about hybrid. I know how when you're waiting for something and you're almost at the finish line, it just sort of becomes very unbearable. And so at that time, in March, I remember that Walmart cancelled my orders a couple of times that week. Because first, I think there was a snowstorm at some point, or there was thunderstorm, something, weather, something. And like, everything just began to frustrate me. Like, what is all this craziness? If I had a car, I would simply just go and get, whatever I need to get on my own. So all of that, and I missed my boss a couple of times. So all that period, I was just so tired. I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to get a car. And then my guy is telling me he's not sure. I'm like, after waiting for how many months? Going on 5 months. So it was like ending of October. So like November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, it was my 5th month. So the car was supposed to come in April. Right? So, and bear in mind, I already spent 1 month with Nissan. So technically I've been waiting for 6 months at that point. So that weekend I began car shopping. I started checking online. I started checking other dealerships. At that point, I called my guy in Hyundai. I'm like, guy, I'm back again. Jason, like, tell me, what do you have for me? What is the best deal that you can offer me? And that weekend he came to me and was offering me extra 30% above my budget because of the urgency and all of that. And bear in mind, at this point, like I said, I was already fixated on hybrid cars. So I just looked at it like, calm down. Yes, I'm desperate. Yes, I'm in a hurry, but like going over my budget by 30% just didn't make sense. So I just like relaxed and I started checking also for other dealerships. And I remember that when I started this journey, a very good friend of mine told me that he knows somebody working in Hyundai when it's time to get a car, that if I needed help, I should just let him know and he would, do the introductions. I told him not to worry because I thought I already had it under control. At that point, I just got tired. I remember I was so frustrated. I was depressed. And then I called him and I'm like, dude, I'm ready for that introduction. Let's do it. So he introduced me to this amazing lady in Hyundai. She works with the marketing team in the headquarters in Toronto. And, she said, look, there's scarcity everywhere. Hybrid cars are scarce counter-wide. So your dealership is not lying. There are no parts. There are no chips. My CEO has traveled to Taiwan a couple of times. There's no luck. And so even staff that are dealing with fast track to get their cars in a month or a couple of weeks have been waiting for like 4 months. Like, these are staff. That's what it is. So at that point, I now said that, okay, she now, cited scenarios to me that there are some cars, for example, pool cars, and there are also cars they use for display. If you're familiar with marketing events, you know that when they go for an event, also because it's an auto company, they will have some cars that are strictly for display, displaying the features and everything. Nobody's driving them, so it's like almost zero mileage and none of that stuff. So they used to have some display cars and also some pool cars that she was going to check with the admin team and get back to me. At that point, I told her, I said, look, if you don't have a 23 car, I'm okay. let me see, even if it is used at this point, let me see what my options are. And so I think we had that conversation on Saturday, and Monday got so great. She got back to me on Monday and she was like, oh, okay, the admin guy said they have some cards, but it's 22. I said, at this point, I could care less. Give me the 2022 car. And she was like, it's a pool car, and they didn't have any more display cars. I said, c'est pas problem. So it's 22, we're in 2022, that's okay. And she was like, oh, the mileage is 15k. I'm like, Sisi, bring it on. I said, this is, at that point, I'd done some research and I saw that those 2022 cars that I was even searching online, like used, they were selling them more expensive than 2023 cars. Like, the scarcity was real at that point. And from what I hear, the scarcity is still there. Like, supply chain issue, and a couple of people are trying to move to hybrid because it's like subtle introduction to green energy and all of that stuff, you know. So there's a lot more demand for hybrid cars and all of that. So she told me, oh, it's 2022. I said, no, voila. Thankfully, it was also hybrid. Bear in mind that this hybrid car, when I first went to Hyundai the first time, I didn't even look at hybrid because the base model, which was gas, was not even within my budget. Like, I didn't even bother. So this time around, she's like, oh yeah, it is the second to the highest trim. I'm like, give me, see, I'm okay. 15k mileage, it's fine. You know, and so she was like, okay, they'll do the quotation on, you know, Monday and get back to me. Sorry, on Tuesday. And then the next day she sent me the quotation. The MSRP of the 2022 car was like 39k. And so they gave, and this is, you know, one of the major takeouts from this experience. She had like a family and friends discount. So if you know anybody that is working in, you know, an auto company, before you buy a car, just ask them, first of all. Like, you need to, because they will most likely have family and friends discount. So when she gave me the codes, I got discount of like 2008, I think, for family and friends discount. They also gave me a mileage discount, I think, of like another 2003. So I got like 5k off, you know. And at that point, bear in mind that they told me the car was 15k mileage, right? And so they gave me the code for that. But they had said that they had not gotten the car back because they gave it to a staff that's waiting for his 2023 car to come. So I waited, and you know, a few days after, they said they had gotten the car back. Thank God, so good again. The mileage of the actual car was now like 8k. It wasn't even 15k. I'm like, look at God. And so when they brought it, you know, they changed the VIN, they did all of that and gave me the documentation. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me know when you guys are ready. And bear in mind also this very important part. They gave me also a discount on financing. At that point, when I started like looking at cars, for Hyundai, I think their interest rate was about 4.5%. Yeah, that was even for 60 years amortization, 60 months amortization, right? But because I went through this stuff, I also, and this 6 months after, the interest rate has shot up by like at least another 1.5%. So ideally I should be paying like 6% or 6.5% for that car. But because I went through this stuff, I also got discount on finance, and I chose the 72 months and I got like 4.5. There was no way you would get 4.5% from any dealership for any brand at that point in time. Like, it was impossible. Bear in mind that 6 months before, brands like Mazda were charging like 7%. Even Hyundai that was charging like 4.5 would have obviously increased by another 1.5. So that budget I was working with would definitely have shot up by that 25 or 30% because of interest rates even, you know. So because I went to the staff, I got promo on financing, and they were offering me 4.5. I'm like, 6 months down the line, I'm getting a rate that was even less than what it was 6 months ago. So now to the interesting part. I was waiting just for everything to be finalized. I remember I was calling her every other time, like, how far are we doing? And then she buzzes me one day and she's like, there's a new development. I'm going to send you an email. Let me know if you are still interested. I'm like, hey God, devil, is this you again? What happened? So I checked the email, and in the email they said that when they got the car back, they noticed he had some scratches or like damage to the front and rear bumper. And like, so because of that, they were gonna fix it, obviously before giving it to me, and that I was also going to get a 10k discount because they have to fix it. I'm like, and I checked the email. She asked them, are you saying that my friend will pay for the repair? They were like, oh no, they will repair it and they will still give me 10k discount. I'm like, and at that point in time, yeah, I was still being picky. I called my brother, I called a couple of friends asking them, like, is it a good deal? And a few of them were like, Chris, they're offering you 10,000. Do you know what 10,000 off your MSRP is? Like, mama, are you even thinking about this? For something that they said is strictly cosmetic, wasn't mechanical, it might just be like a scratch on the bumper and all of that. So I said, okay, no problem, bring it, you know, and they agreed that they were going to fix it. So I went to the dealership now to go and sign paper and all of that. And the dealerships, you know, gave me obviously family and friend discounts and mileage discounts. And I looked at the paper, I'm like, where's my 10k discount? They were like, huh? Thank you for what? And thankfully she had forwarded the email through to me. So I told them, I'm like, is this not you people's head office email address? They promised to give me 10k discounts because they have to fix the something in the bumper and you know whatever. And the guy was like, no, impossible. And then he brought out the work order they did on the car. That look, they spent 17k fixing this car. There was nothing mechanical about the scratch or the dent. It was simply cosmetic, by the way. And they took it to the #1 auto shop in Canada, where they gave me a copy of the work order. And look at everything they did in this car, nothing mechanical. And they spent 5k on workmanship alone, right? And then the money of the parts that they changed was like 8k. I used to tell you that they took it to a top auto workshop. So like with taxes and everything, the total came to like 17k. So it's like, why would they fix your car for 17k and give you an extra 10k discount? Like, the car is already almost brand new with 8k mileage. Like, I'm like, I don't care what you're saying, but this is what was promised to me. Because it was a Saturday, he said, okay, he has to put some calls through. I tried to call the girl, obviously it's not a work day. She's like, she can't reach anybody, let's revisit it on Monday. So I left there. And then on Monday, you know, I've been waiting patiently for the babe to get back to me. Like, hey, God, I better go. And then she got back to me and she's like, what? They have finally called your dealership. They are still going to give you your 10k discount. So you can wait for them to call you or you can go there. I'm like, huh? So this time I went there and the dealership were like, wow. Who do you know in head office? Like, you must know somebody high up there. By the time I got there, the gist has spread around the entire company. The #1 person in the dealership was telling me, the manager was like, he has a staff, his sales guy, calling him to ask for that kind of discount. I'm like, if that's people's problem, you want to hate on the child of God? You want to hate on the child of God? So it's like he has people calling him, asking him, you know, for such discounts because in the history of him being the manager, they've never done something like that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say, but it is what it is. So guys, after all the back and forth, like, he was looking at me like, how, this girl, how did you pull this screen? And so they, you know, they awarded this kind of 10k, and at that time they were like, okay, now they can begin processing, you know, going to go and get the car, and they will call me when it's ready. And so they called me on Tuesday. They were like, no, actually on Wednesday. I went there on Monday. On Wednesday, that got in there. That when am I able to come and pick it up? I was still even the Shakarada. Let me get back to you. So I called my friend because I wanted her to document everything, and she said she was free on Thursday. So I'm like, yeah, let's go and get it on Thursday. Even when I got there, like, everybody was looking at me like, who is this girl? Which kind of grace this girl carry? Guys, that's how God did it though. So like, by the time I looked at the invoice, like, the discount that I got off that car was 13,000. Like, so the MSRP was 39k initially. With all the discounts and everything, it came down to 26,000. Guys, of course, I had not added all the other, you know, of course I opted for, you know, extended warranty, different types of warranty, blah blah blah. But even at that, the total that I'm paying bi-weekly It's still the same budget that I had 6 months ago. Blown. Like it was, even me myself, it was a miracle. And then I've come to realization that, you know, when it comes to my own matter, any delay is never a denial, because the way God used to compensate me, I don't even, honestly, like, it's just God. Alhamdulillah, because I don't understand. So guys, that's how I got 13K off. And then I looked at the work order very critically, because I used to drive in Nigeria, so I sort of know a little bit about cars. And believe me, there was nothing mechanical. It's like, you know, maybe there was just a Chinese crash and they didn't feel okay giving it to me like that. And so they just, because it's a company that's ordering the repair, right? They just like repair the entire thing regardless, you know, instead of like patch. So guys, that is how God came through for me. So the major takeaway from this is, delay is never denial. God is never late. Even though I was frustrated, I was depressed, all of that time, a lot of things were going on at the same time, God compensated me. And you know, that aside is to say that follow the road in this Canada. If you want to buy a car, ask people that work. If you have any friend or family that works in an auto company, ask them. There's definitely family and friend discount. Also from that email, I saw that discount for family is even different for discount for friends. The reason I didn't get family is because they don't give that for hybrid cars. So like I said, make sure that you ask your friends, your family, any short, because I didn't know this girl before I started, like when I was in my car. I've never met her before, even till now. Like, I just know a friend that knows a friend. So just ask around, and if the person is a good person, they don't need to know you personally to be able to call in those favors, because I mean, waiting they give, they know help you, right? So ask a friend, speak to people, talk to people, because I cannot even imagine what I would have gone through if I did not know this girl. Because funny enough, the day I went to sign the papers for the car, that's when they were calling me from Kia to say, I just told them, sorry guys, too late, I went with another car. So I'm guessing at that time the car had come. But regardless, I would have paid obviously way over, maybe like 25% extra. And you know, I would, it just doesn't make sense. I would have paid like 25% extra. I'd have paid extra on financing. Like, I cannot even imagine how much I would have paid. So instead of this 26K I paid for the car, of course, before the taxes and all other levies, I would have paid like 40K, essentially. Blown. So a closed mouth is a closed destiny. Open your mouth, speak to people, and honestly, don't leave God, because this my story is nothing short of a miracle. I had friends that were, you know, looking for cars at that time, or that also bought cars. For example, I think he got a I know someone that got a 2019 car, and the money that I pay compared to his own is less than $100 in a month. So like, at the end of the day, that's why it just didn't make sense for me to buy a used car. You get what I mean? And also, like, of course, the interest rate and everything went up. So even for used car, you are still going to pay that same interest rate or even more. You get what I mean? So, and also because my car came from the head office, I got a couple of discounts. Like, even on the extended warranty, I think I got like 25% off that. So there were a lot of, like, you know, other, you know, advantages to that as well. So also, because it was a deal from the head office, the dealership couldn't be shady or anything. Not like they were shady in the first place, but I've heard stories about, you know, various dealerships and how they can be. So like, the advantages are like way up there. I can't even continue to think about, you know, the advantages of, you know, really, you know, getting that, calling in that kind of favor. You get what I mean? Anyways, I promised when I was doing the vlog and everything that I was going to give you guys the lowdown, the gist of this car. So here goes nothing. I hope that you learned a thing or two from this story. You know, firstly, trusting God, even though honestly I'm not even sure that God should be giving this sermon, because I almost lost my mind when I was waiting. And not just the car, a lot of things were happening at that time. So just trust God that when God's time is time, when His time is time, when God's time is here, there's no stopping, and delay is never denial. Most of delays are always a blessing, you know, if you really begin to think about it, right? And also, just like, speak to people, open your mouths. All those coded that Nigerians used to do, I don't want village people. Hey, close mouth is a closed destiny. So I don't know about you, but for the most part, I'm pretty open, and honestly, it has helped me a lot. You get advice from people, you get connections, you get like referrals. So don't zip your mouth, talk. And I'm not saying, obviously, you have to use your discretion, right? You know what you tell people and who you're telling, but like, for the most part, like, you don't know who can help you, so talk. Why am I doing this? But you get the point. Anyways, cheers guys, cheers to more story time to come. While I'm filming this video, I've drunk, I've ate. You can see that the quantity has gone down. I don't want to be rude by doing this on camera, but I hope that you were chilling as well when you were, you know, watching this video. And I will see you in my next couple of story times, because it was a joke. So go and drink this one, let it marinate. In the next video, I'm going to do, you know, a video about frequently asked questions on, you know, whether or not you should buy a new car, a used car, and a rental car, you know, based on experience. So watch out for that. It should go out right after this. And I'll see you in my next video. If you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting the subscribe button below. To my existing subscribers, thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.